It's time for the Leadership Lunch Break with Joy Jackson of Speaking of Joy. Let's tune in for today's discussion.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Leadership Lunch Break. I'm Joy Jackson, and I'm so glad that you have joined me on this Thursday as we wrap up May. Can you believe it? Like, May is done. And I just want to say, as we wrap up May, thank you all so very much for all your support. This Leadership Lunch Break is different because for the first time in a long time, I do not have a guest. And part of it, I think I was looking for people, praying about people. And what I really realized is there's some things that I've been dealing with as it relates to authenticity. And if you've noticed my posts, you probably have seen quite a bit about authenticity, because that's kind of what I'm dealing with, and not as a struggle, but just as a reminder of who I am and whose I am. And so wanted to use this lunch break as an opportunity to encourage you and to inspire you and to remind you just how great you are. So this workshop or this session is called Leadership Takes Authenticity. And let me tell you, even just getting to a point where I can talk about authenticity in a way like this is being vulnerable. It's being transparent. And so thank you for letting me share this space as a place to get this off my chest and then to work with you as well. So I've been talking about authenticity. It's been something that I've been really dealing with. I am authentic. You are authentic. We're authentic people. That's who we are. And but sometimes it's hard to walk in your authenticity. And I think part of it is because we have traded transparency for authenticity. In other words, we spend a lot of time showing our lives. Let me tell you, I have never been on social media as much as I'm on social media now. And it is so amazing how many people are sharing their lives. I'm guilty of it too. I posted today just about my children, which is something I don't do very often. But the world is consuming information about you and about who you are based on what we put on social media. And so transparency is something that we all have been exposed to. I mean, you look at celebrities' lives, you look at scandals. I mean, everything is so very, very public now. There isn't any privacy anymore in how we live or what we do. And so transparency is something that we've become accustomed to. Now, is it healthy? Maybe, maybe not. I think too much information can be truly too much information, but we are living in a society, in a world where we are very transparent. We share our business, we share our lives, we take pictures of our food, our family, our friends, we take pictures of our feet, we take pictures of anything that we think the world wants to know. But what I challenge is, and even as the post that I write and as I try to share my thoughts and ideas with you, is that although we may be transparent, are we truly being authentic? And I say that because it's easy to share what you want people to see and what you want people to know, but it's harder when you're really going to share the parts of you with the world. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, it's easy to find quotes. It's easy to find memes. It's easy to find that. But it's really, really tough, I believe, to really share your whole heart and who you are. And as I started speaking of joy, that's one of the things that has been something that I've worked through is, hey, Joy, who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as? And what I realize is at the end of the day, the only person that I absolutely can be is Joy. And I am grateful and I am proud to say that I absolutely love her. I love who she is. I love what she stands for. I love her beliefs, but that wasn't always the case. I've always been Joy. I've always loved being Joy. But the truth of the matter is I didn't always like her. I didn't always like her because I didn't know who I was. I mean, I know I'm a child of God. Let me tell you, I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. Nobody has to tell me anything about God. I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I know all of those things about myself. I know that I am precious. I know that I am a daughter of the Most High. I know those things, but that didn't mean that I always liked myself. I didn't always like myself. Listen, I'm a brown skinned girl with a big old gap in my mouth. You see? And believe it or not, although I've had it all these years, I wasn't always confident about it. I always wanted to be, look like other people. I've always wanted to have, not always, but there were times in my life that I wanted to be fair skinned and have long curly hair and just look like what the world said beauty was. And it wasn't until I got older and realized, hey, I am who I am and I have to love myself. And so as I began to unpack those things and realize who I truly am and realize exactly what it is I have to offer, the world, I began to love myself even more. And so as I did that, I realized that I've got to be true to who I am. So as I have been living this life and walking this life, especially having children, I've identified the fact that authenticity is super important. So I'll tell you, 3 reasons why authenticity is important. The first reason that authenticity is important is because authenticity means that you understand and can be honest with yourself first and with the rest of the world. When you are truly walking in authenticity and when you're truly walking in who you are, there is an honesty about you that you make no apologies for. There's an honesty in you that you are comfortable being vulnerable, where you're in a place where you share your stories. And let me tell you, if you know me or if you follow me long enough, you will know that I tell my stories. I am not ashamed of the things that have happened to me or I've done. I'm not ashamed of those things. I don't live in regret. I am remorseful for things, but I don't regret because I believe everything is a lesson and everything is an opportunity for me to be better and to see the grace of God and the grace of others. So I find myself many, many, many times not really being one of those people like, oh my God, I can't believe. No, because I am who I am. And at the time that I did what I did, or I thought what I thought, or I said what I said, that was that moment. Now, am I accountable? Absolutely. And in authenticity, you got to be accountable. That means when you offend, that means when you challenge, that means when you're not in your best self, you don't show up as yourself, you first have to say, my bad. So authenticity is honesty. It's really being honest with yourself. It's being honest with who you are, looking at yourself in the mirror. And not that whole I'm beautiful, I know who I am, but really, really looking through the person that you see to know the person that you are. Because the world will see one thing, but who you are is something totally different. It could be something totally different. And so who you are is the essence of you. That's how you show up in pressure. That's how you show up in situations that are uncomfortable. Who you are. If you are a bitter person, bitterness comes out. If you are an angry person, anger comes out. If you are a spiritual person, spirit comes out. And I'll tell you why that's important, because when I started speaking of joy, and having been in corporate world for so long, it was so very easy to separate or attempt to separate the spirit from the flesh. And the flesh not meaning the carnal stuff, but just carnal in the word of flesh. It was so very easy to separate those things. But the more and more I prayed and the more I identified who I am and walked authentically as Joy, I realized that who I am is a child of God, and that comes out. If you talk to me for a long period of time, you will know that I absolutely 100% love the Lord. I wear grace because I recognize that's how I'm living. Even today, my shirt says blessed because I walk in forever gratefulness for the things that God has blessed me with. So I'm saying all that to say, when you really walk in authenticity, you walk in honesty. So if you have not sat down and dealt with your scars, your issues, your problems, those things, it's really hard to be authentic. And it's so easy to show the world what you want them to see. But in the evenings, when you're alone, when you're by yourself, if you're struggling to even be in that quiet space, it's because you haven't been your authentic self. So number one, authenticity requires honesty. Another thing that I'm learning about authenticity is that authenticity is not a comparison to other people or other things. You may have seen a post that I put up about being uniquely you, because I can tell you my biggest challenge has been going through this process and really exposing myself to the world through social media and all of that. And it's so easy to watch other people's posts and other people and see what they are saying and think, oh, that's really good. Oh my gosh, I should probably be speaking like that. Or really being distracted a lot in how you live and what you say. And so authenticity really is about focusing on you, and it's not comparing yourself. And I'll be honest, you all may never say this, but all of us to some degree, I believe, compare ourselves to other people. I absolutely believe that. Whether it's subconsciously, whether it is officially, we compare ourselves to other people. And it may not be in an envious or jealous way. It may just be, oh, wow, that's a really nice house. Oh, wow, I like my house too. Even small things that we do because we live in a competitive society. I mean, let's be honest. Okay. So how many of us have seen the sports where all the kids get an award? How many of you like that? in real life? How many of you are like, absolutely, every child deserves an award? No, we are a competitive society. We're a society that says, no, the winners win, the losers lose. And so if you're not careful and you're not comfortable in your authenticity, you will look around at everything that's happening and the people around you, and you will find that you are comparing yourself. You don't look like this. You don't sound like that. Your business is not doing this. You don't have this type of whatever. And even some people, I believe, who post on social media and do those things quite a bit, want you to feel that way, want you to feel inferior. But when you are authentic, you can look at yourself and say, you know what? I am not concerned about what everybody else sees. I don't compare myself. If I compare myself to anybody, it's going to be to Christ, and we don't measure up on any level. So I'm just going to walk in the authority of who I am. I'm going to walk in how I live. So you got to get to a point, especially when you want to walk in your authentic self, that you no longer compare. And one of my favorite Christian artists is Jonathan McReynolds. He has a song that says comparison kills. And I absolutely believe that. I believe if you spend your life comparing yourself to other people, other circumstances, all of those things, you kill your creativity. You kill your God-given purpose. You kill your joy. You kill your peace. You kill the happy things that are around you. So you always want to be aware and always want to be mindful that if you're your authentic self, you can't compare. And here's why: because nobody else can do what you do the way you do it. You are the only one. My pastor, Remus Wright, always says that, we are a unique, unrepeatable, historic event. Hey, Bev, thank you so very much. So because we are that, then nobody can be me. So I can't compare myself to here's the best way to say it. If I'm an original and I am who I am, then I can't compare myself to anything else because nothing else looks like me. Okay. If you have an orange in your hand, you have one orange in your hand, the orange in your hand is an orange. Now the orange could look at itself and say, oh, I'm an orange, but can the orange really be compared to an apple? Can it be compared to a strawberry? No, it's an orange. And we always say we compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. That's why, because if you're your unique, authentic self, there is no comparison. You are absolutely who you are, and you're absolutely where you're supposed to be. So it takes honesty to be authentic. It takes removing the comparison. And then the biggest one that I think is it takes approval, and not approval from the world, but approval for yourself. Because a lot of times when we are walking in our authenticity, it may not be for everybody. May not be for everybody. But if I love myself and I know who I am, I don't need you to clap. I don't need you. And I'm going to transparent moment. Okay. I am, like I said, I'm not just getting on social media, but I'm using social media as a platform that I'm using it now. And it's so interesting because one of the ways that as a speaker or as a social media influencer, if you want to use that word, you are measured is by your likes, by your shares, by your comments. That's what it is. And what that says subconsciously is approval. And how many of us, let's be honest, and maybe you won't, but I will. How many of you look at posts and wonder how many people are going to like it? I mean, and we do that because subconsciously we're a society of approval. You want to be told that you're nice. You want to be told that you're great. Even when you apply for jobs, all of that is about approval. And some of us tie our entire self-worth to the approval of others. And when you do that, you will find that you can never walk in authenticity. Because as long as you're seeking the approval of others, you will continue to change and modify yourself to accommodate other people. And as long as you are an accommodating chameleon, you can never be the person that God truly made you. So as much as we like to say, oh, I'm accommodating, I get along with everybody. Oh, I know how to fit in any situation. That's great. But there comes a time when you decide and choose to walk in authenticity that you have to accept that you may not get the approval of people around you, your friends, your boss, your family, your church, people, your spouse. The people closest to you may not approve. But if you have a conviction about who you are, if you are truly walking in your authentic self and your authentic being, you find peace in knowing that you're not going to change to make other people happy. Look at it like this. The light doesn't stop being light. Light is always light. And when there's darkness in the room and the light comes on, it changes. And it changes because that's what your authenticity is for. It is for you to change the world. And I've always said this, the world is about who's around you. It doesn't have to be, you may never, ever, ever be on, have a day named after you or any of those things. But if you are impacting the lives of the people that are around you, you are truly changing the world. So authenticity means I don't seek the approval of others. If you don't like my hair, if you don't like my glasses, if you don't like the gap in my teeth, I'm okay with that. And I don't tie my self-worth or who I am to you and what you think about me. And that's a lesson that I'm learning. I'm not sitting here preaching and saying this as if I have it all together. I struggle with this on a regular basis because I look at, I'll be honest, I look at people, I look at social media, I look at TV. I'm a TV junkie. I love it. If you know that about me. And I look at what people are gravitating to. And it's like, God, it's so amazing that there are people who are speaking hope and truth and love and peace and a message of inspiration, but they get 3 likes. But we'll start a challenge where we are moving, shaking, popping, doing foolishness, and it goes viral. And it's like, God, how do we live in a world where people run from the truth and those things, but spend their time in the things that are not really beneficial? And what I realized is, you impact your world. Be true to who you are. So if a challenge is in your heart, do a challenge. If a word is in your heart, speak a word. If a dance is in your heart, do a dance. But don't try to fit what the world is showing you, because that is not your authentic self. Authenticity is a decision. Authenticity is something that you say, today I choose to be none other than Joy. Today, I choose to be none other than the woman I was created to be. Today, you should choose to be none other than the man or the woman that you were created to be. Because when you truly walk in authenticity, when you truly get to a point where you are honest with yourself, where you don't compare yourself to other people, and where you don't seek the approval of others, you are free. And there is nothing in this world like freedom. From the bondage of critics, from the bondage of expectations, from the bondage of negativity, from the bondage of horrible thoughts, from the bondage of all of those things that we've put on ourselves trying to be something that we're not. Listen, I have twins. Y'all know that. I got 7-year-old twins. They are identical. Not to me or to the family, but to the world, they're identical, but they're not the same. So much so that they don't even dress the same anymore. They don't, and what's funny, they don't want to even look like each other. So one will say, well, what is Shelby wearing? What is Sydney wearing? And they will literally change clothes if they feel like it's going to make them look different. You know why? Because they don't want to be anything but themselves. They don't want to be anybody but themselves. And that's what authenticity is. I no longer want to put on a robe or a cover that makes you comfortable or makes me feel like I'm doing the work for you. Hey, Kim Felder, I want to really, really, really do the work that shows who I am. So I challenge you as we go into June, as we finish up May, to be your authentic 100% self. And there are times that you're not going to feel it. But honestly, when you get to a point in your life where you say, no matter what, I'm going to be me. I don't care what you say. I don't care what it looks like. Messy hair day, no makeup, eyebrows not fully plugged, whatever it is, I'm going to show up as me. People respect you when you show up authentically. They do. Nobody wants to be in a relationship with people when they don't know what they're going to get. Think about it like this. We all have those, you get those chocolates at Valentine's Day, right? We all get the chocolates at Valentine's Day. How many of us bite the chocolates and put them down till we find the one we want? And it takes us forever to do that. You know why? Because we're looking for something specific. And let me tell you, if you are looking for relationship, for job, for business, for clients, they're looking for something specific. And the only way they're going to get it is for you to be who you are. So today, I invite you, I encourage you, and I challenge you to live authentically. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you've made. We've all done it. Forgive yourself for the issues. Forgive the people who hurt you. Some of us are not authentically ourselves because we're still holding on to baggage from other stuff and other people. Let that stuff go. Those people have moved on with their lives. And right now, it's time for you to choose. Who will you be? It is 12:21 Central Standard Time. Today at 12:22, who will you be? Who will you show up as? Will you show up as business as usual, which is the person that just has done what they always do and people can expect that? Or will you be the person that you know you were created to be? Some of us haven't fully blossomed and we're in our mid 40s, 50s because we haven't embraced our authentic selves. I want to start a movement on authenticity. We live in a world where people are not truly who they are. It's time out for that. It's time for us to be authentically ourselves. Make no apologies for it. Now, let me say this. If there's some things about you that are authentic, you're like, baby, that's who I am. I'm just going to stay that way. Well, if you need to change, change. Because just because that's who you are doesn't mean that's who you need to be. Say it again. Just because that's who you are doesn't mean that's who you need to be. So if there are things about you, although authenticity gives you the ability to say, this is who I am and I choose to walk in this, that doesn't mean that everything about us is all good. That doesn't mean that everything about us is great. So that means that if I'm really walking in my authentic self, I'm also listening for criticism. I'm also listening for feedback about who I am because I want to be my best authentic self. And the only way I can do that is for me to hear from other people. So invite people to give you feedback about yourself. I know that's hard to do because you're like, I don't want constructive criticism. No, I'll listen to what you have to say. Doesn't mean I have to accept it, but I'm okay with you telling me what you think because I'm always evaluating. I'm always realigning and making sure that I'm doing and walking exactly how I should. And if you're not criticizing me, if you're not giving me some of the negative stuff, then I don't know that the positive stuff is actually working. So today, live authentically. Today, choose to show up as yourself. Today, choose to do it the way that you've always wanted to do it. And more importantly, choose to do it the way that God has told you to do it. Your life is important. Your life is special. It's necessary. And the only way that you can be in true peace and true fulfillment is to be who you authentically are. So I hope that that has helped you. That's what I'm telling you. This has been the journey that I've been on, is really reminding myself of who I am, reminding myself of what I believe, and reminding myself of what I have to share with the world. And this is what I have to share. I make no apologies for it. I try to tote the line and try to make it sound one way or another. But at the end of the day, in order to be Joye, Joye, I don't know why there's an E on the end, but in order to be Joye, I've got to be true to who I am. So I want to thank you all so much for watching the Leadership Lunch Break today. I'll tell you something cool that's coming up next week. Next Thursday is my mom's birthday. So June 3rd is my mom's birthday, which will be a Leadership Lunch Break. And I've put it out there to her. So if you know her, nudge her. But next Thursday, I will do the Leadership Lunch Break with my mom. And we will sit here and we will talk. We will share stories. We will just chat, and we'll do it as a mother-daughter thing. I want to honor her too because she is my mommy, and a lot of my confidence and the way I feel about myself, I owe a lot to her because she really instilled those things in me. So I want to share the stage, this platform with her to acknowledge her. So I do invite you to come back next Thursday for the Leadership Lunch Break so that we can, you can meet my mom if you haven't, and then we can chat about just about life and we'll see where God leads as far as the conversation. I've said it before, but words truly cannot express how much I appreciate you guys and all of you who have purchased Women Crushing Mediocrity. I thank you so much for your support. It is a blessing to do what God has called you to do, but even more to be in a situation where I didn't know what this was going to be, and for God to continue to make ways and open doors and to allow me to even have a voice in a book. I am so grateful for that. So I'm so grateful for all of you who have purchased the book. If you have not purchased the book, it is okay. I am putting it in the chat right now. You can get the link right there so that you can actually have access to the book. It will bless you. I honestly believe that. I have had the opportunity. It's 42 of us. It's a lot of women, but all of us have a story, and the story is about overcoming. The story is about just being yourself. I mean, some of the women have come through cancer and through domestic abuse and violence, so many different things. And you never know people's story. And in a lot of ways, it's therapeutic. So I invite you, if you have not already purchased your copy, to do that today, to share it with someone. But most importantly, as we wrap up today, I invite you and I want you to live authentically. Until I see you next week, have a good one.
Thank you for joining the Leadership Lunch Break. Join us next Thursday at noon Central Standard Time for lunch as we continue our discussions. Follow Speaking of Joy on all social media platforms or visit our website at www.speakingofjoy.com. That's www.speakingofjoye.com. Until next week.